All right. Okie dokie. Well, hello everyone, or hello you. Um, we are Jeffrey Wayne and David Dwayne,
Yes.
and we're having our little weekly Zoom get together, and we talk about different things each time. And tonight's topic is our 5 all-time favorite groups, and which is it's so hard to pinpoint 5 favorite groups, but I don't know. Anyway, I know that I'm gonna start by saying, well, I know my top 3 most definitely are Van Halen, and then there's Yngwie Malmsteen, which he's not a group, but anyway, and Dokken. Those were my 3 favorite groups back in the day, and they still, I mean, as far as their stuff back then, still hold pretty strong.
Yeah.
But as of lately, they've not, of course, Van Halen is no more, and Yngwie is, he lost it after, I don't know, after like, let's see, what was it we talked about? I think it was, good God, after, it was about 4 or 5 years ago when he started trying to, that's when he began to sing. He began to sing, and it's not a good idea. It's not a good idea to do that anyway. He needs to go ahead and carry it and hire some singers back. And then Dokken, God Almighty, Don Dokken, his voice is pretty much hit the end of the line, but he's still trying to put out music. Which hey man, more power to him. But like I said, it's Van Halen, Yngwie, Dokken, and the 4 and 5. God Almighty, man. I got to thinking real hard, and I'd have to say Black Sabbath. For a multitude of
Wow.
reasons. You know,
Was not expecting that.
yeah. So you got Dio. He was in Black Sabbath, and I loved that version. And you had Glenn Hughes, who played in Black Sabbath, and then Tony Martin, joined them for a while. And they got Dio back, and Tony Martin back, and you know, that's a big chunk. And I don't know, man. Tony Iommi is just a brilliant guitar player, and he writes crazy heavy riffs, and the music was great with those singers. So I'd have to say Black Sabbath would be number 4. And good God, man, there's one group that I really like that I probably will never stop liking, but they only put out one album. And it's like I said, it's tight, because I like Symphony X, I like Evergrey,
Yeah.
but the band I listen to a lot, and it's the same thing, it's the same album, and it's a Hodge's Kitchen.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that's number 5, because I can't see myself not listening to them anymore, because I just love that album. That album is so strong to me.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm thinking now. So I'm thinking it's Van Halen, it's Malmsteen, Dokken, Black Sabbath, and Hodge's Kitchen.
Well, the first 3.
Top 5. Why are you looking at me like that, fool?
Your first 3, I could have guessed. I would have had no problems. The second, the fourth, and the fifth. That I knew you loved Sabbath, but I'm surprised they were that high. And then Hodge's Kitchen. I know you love them. I've heard you talk about them a lot, but I was kind of surprised you went there.
They've only put out one album, but and Symphony X would be like close.
Yeah.
Close between Hodges and Symphony, because I liked Symphony ever since they first came out, and Russell Allen is probably one of my favorite vocalists of all time. But Hodges Kitchen is something I always go back and listen to, man. I never get tired of it.
Yeah. Oh
No,
yeah.
I never get tired of it. And I guess, I can just stamp those five
Yeah.
and let that be it for me. And that's about all I can say for that. So why don't you give us your top five
Yeah.
groups? Oh, the first one. I mean, that's
Yeah. Well, like you were saying, I went through a lot of stuff trying to figure out the top five because we talked about this earlier today. It's not just about the music, even though, that's the majority of it, but a lot of it's about image, when they came into our lives, stuff like that. So there
yeah,
was other things because, like I said, bands like Foreigner and Journey and Judas Priest, they musically they are right up there,
God,
but the
yeah,
images weren't quite where I was when I was
no,
really getting into music.
no,
And let's face it, with me, a lot of it came down to the image in the 80s and the videos I saw. But like you said, number one is easy. Anybody that knows me knows I'm going with Kiss.
wow, 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 yep.
Since 76, that's who it's always been. Um, the stuff they did in makeup is nearly perfect to me. I even love Unmasking the Elder just because it's them, and even though all that kind of stuff's kind of weird, I still love it. But I loved them in the 80s and I loved them in the 90s. And up until the last two albums, there was tons and tons that I loved about them. Last two albums, I get nothing from them, but man, all those years, all those albums, they're number
God,
one. Um,
trying to hang on to
yeah,
and it's like, ugh, I don't know, man. It's getting the grip is getting kind of loose.
yeah. And then probably number two is a band that I got into them about halfway during their career, but it was what we knew from uh from MTV and everything. We didn't know that they had stuff before it. It's White Snake.
Oof,
Um,
okay.
when I heard the White Snake album, and I think it was 87, I lost my mind. It's still one of the best albums ever made.
Oh, indeed.
And we had heard Slide It In before then. And
Yeah.
that's a great album too. But the White Snake album is when I went, wow. And then I went and just started every album that came out, I started listening to it. And then probably about 15 years ago, I started going, well, they've got all these albums that they released just in Europe. I need to go back and check
Mhm.
them. And I went back and I was blown away. I'll be the first one to tell you that some of the songs, a little bit of the time of the 70s. And so there are songs on those albums where it's not that they're bad, it's just they don't speak to me in the same way some of the others
No,
do. But
no.
man, you listen to Ready and Willing, Don't Break My Heart Again.
Oh God, yeah.
I'm trying to think of some of the other ones. Um, I'm trying to think here. Just great songs, and just a little more bluesy. When they came into the 80s with John Sykes, they kind of made it more of a hard rock, hair metal. And I just love Whitesnake. And even today, even though David Coverdale's voice is not what it once was, I still think on the albums they do such a good job, and the songs are great.
Oh
So
yeah.
I still love them. And I tell you, give him a great guitar player and the guy can write unbelievable songs.
Yeah.
Number
Still a great on stage. He can wow the crowd.
he
Cap-
he he works the crowd to this day. He's
Yeah, yeah.
still, I wish I had that kind of confidence in anything, much less being up like that.
But I gotta say, I don't dig the new haircut.
No, 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 no. I think he's kind of slipping into his age and
It
accepting
looks
it and all that
it
good
looks like
stuff.
oh
Now talking
Just
about George.
no, talking about David Coverdale. He cut his hair off.
Oh.
He cut all his hair. He cut it short. Now he looks like an old
he look
woman,
he looks like an old woman.
an old bat.
Just do like Gene and Paul and just wear a wig on stage. That's what they do. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So what's number three, Dave?
And then number three is Tesla.
Yeah. That's
Uh, Loved their first album, loved their second album, and the first four albums before they kind of broke up. I just thought those four albums are nearly perfect, all four of them.
yeah.
And when they broke up, I was like, oh man. But when they came back, they did some of the strongest stuff they'd ever done. Forevermore think that's the album. Uh, the more I listen to Spotify, the more I forget album titles. But Forevermore, is that it? Let me make sure I'm telling you the right name. Damn it. Yeah. That album was when I went, wow, these guys have still got it. It's heavier than probably anything they ever did. And so, they've just got this long body work. The last album, not good because it was produced by Phil Collins, Def Leppard, and I've already went off about that.
Def Leppard.
It sounds like a bad Def Leppard cover band. So,
Yeah.
Then after the first three, I'm like you. After the first three, I had to really, really, really think about it. And there are all these bands that could have been in there. Like I said, Foreigner, Journey, Def Leppard, Bon Jovi, Mr. Big. That was one of the bands. Like they might be number 6 for me. They're so good. But number 4, and this band, even though they're an 80s band, the reason why they're up so high now is the stuff they've done in the 2000s and 2010s, 2020. That's Striper. They are just on a roll, and they have been putting out great, almost metal. I don't categorize a lot of the music I listen to as metal. It's more hair metal or hard rock. But man, some of the stuff they put out is so good. And on album, Michael Sweet sounds the exact same as he did in the 80s.
He does, man. He's still
and they're just
power.
Yeah, and they've gotten harder as the years have gone by, which I really, really like. And then when I got to number 5, I said, Mr. Big, that was a tough one. I said no, I'll put them at number 6. And number 5 is a band that we both love that catches more grief than any band out there, and that's Winger. And yes, most people know Winger as. She said what?
She did.
She said
she
what
said
now?
Winger before you said Winger.
Oh yeah.
She said Winger.
Yeah.
Wow. Winger's killer though, man.
Oh, I love them. Love them. They have such great music, and they continue to make good music. And they're the band that I constantly argue with people about, because they're like, oh, they're just a wimpy band, and I'm like, you really need to listen, because those guys are really, really good. And the album they released this year is really, really good.
Yeah.
So it's probably the second best album of the year after Extremes, which is just a beast.
Kip's voice is just like Michael Sweet's. It's still it's still pain, and it's still strong. He can still hit those high notes and all that stuff, man. He's incredible. Of course, he's probably in really damn good shape too.
Yeah.
It takes a lot, but still, he still hits that stuff like he used to, man. And they're all still at what they do, and they're all still together.
Yeah. One of the few bands.
Yeah. Paul Taylor has to sit out every once in a while, and they have another guitar player, but for the most part, Paul he's still in there,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that time we went to go see him, man, that was a great show.
That was great.
And then when Reb broke his string, and he got the other guitar player to play, and they played Van Halen and all that stuff. Reb could have time to fix his.
Yeah, he came back. He came back with his grandpa glasses on.
Felt like we were sitting in like the living room with him having a conversation.
Yeah. It made real up close and personal.
Well, I've always said I prefer the small venues now. I don't, I would rather pay a little bit more and just be able to see them and possibly talk to them and stuff like that. I'm still waiting for Jeff Scott Soto and Jason Beeler to come around. I don't even care that I've seen them twice, and they're probably going to play a lot of the same songs. It's just, like you said, you feel like you're sitting in their living room, and they're cutting up and, just having a ball and stuff.
And he's most definitely a favorite of yours.
Well, honestly, if you look at the number of songs, Jeff Scott Soto would probably be number 2 after Kiss, but he's got so many projects. I was like, I don't know if I can say he's not one band because he's got so many different things
Yeah.
out there. But if you go by the number of songs, yeah, he's probably number 2 for me because man, I can't tell people just how much I like that guy's music and all the songs and all the different styles. And there's not many people that are that diverse. But
No, man. No, he's talented as hell, man.
and not sure if he's ever been on a gold record. How crazy is that? Maybe the Ingve album and maybe the Rockstar album might have somehow made it there. But other than
Yeah.
that, I can't
I
say
love
that.
I love the Sons of Apollo
Yeah.
stuff.
They're done
Even-
with that though.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, yeah. Portnoy's back in Dream Theater, so but when I went to go see him at the Cat's Cradle, that was one of the best shows I've ever seen. And he was a hell of he was a hell of a performer. He had the audience going and talked and just stayed busy. He was on it, man. Yeah, I was impressed with him that
Yeah.
night, man.
Well, for him to be able to stand out with those musicians,
Yeah.
that says so much about him.
They're
but
all equal in my book.
like I said, he's gone out there with Journey. They got rave reviews. I just think Journey wanted to continue sounding like the old Journey.
Yeah.
And then he did some stuff with Queen. And I still say he would have sounded better than Paul Rogers or the guy from American Idol. The guy from American Idol sounds more like Freddie.
Adam Lambert.
But I think that I think he would have turned those songs more rocking, and I think that Queen probably could have went out and made more diverse music with him. But
I'd rather hear him with Queen than Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers.
Paul Rogers needs to back free.
I saw a video of Paul Rogers singing "Fat Bottom Girls."
Yeah,
and it was horrendous. And I love Paul Rogers and I love Queen, but
horrendous.
he had no business singing that song. It was not in his range. It wasn't in his personality either. That's not who he is.
No.
And it was just like, oh my goodness. But I'm sure they're happy with Adam Lambert, but what are you going to do?
Keep yourself alive.
Have you ever heard the Soul Circus album?
That's with who's that with?
That's with Neil Sean, Marco Mendoza, and it was Dean Castronova, but then they got another drummer.
Jeff album.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Was JSS on this album?
Yes.
Okay.
But if you ever wanted to hear what Journey would sound like if they went hard rock,
oh wow,
this was it. And he does, I've talked about how he does a great David Lee Roth impersonation. He does.
What is Love? You let me listen to?
Yeah. So This Is Love.
That was kick ass.
Well, you should hear him do a Sammy Hagar impersonation because Sammy wrote a song because it was supposed to be Sammy Hagar singing for Soul Circus. And then Van Halen got back to tour. And so he had to go.
Yeah.
And so Jeff Scott Soto took over, but there was one song called Peephole that was written by Sammy.
Peephole.
And yeah, it's Peephole, all right. But I'll send it to you when we're done. But he does a great Sammy Hagar impersonation. Yeah, you got to check that out. It's amazing. Cool. It's amazing how many conversations I end up on Jeff Scott Soto just because the guy's so amazing.
He's all over the place, man.
I wish we could get somebody like that to come on this. How cool would that be?
That would be a trip, man.
You would probably have to ask most of the questions because I am 100% fanboy.
But hey, yeah, excuse me.
I'll be like, Jeff, you are the greatest singer, and how did you hit that note at the end of that song? The one, and so it wouldn't do good. But I would love to have him on here, pick his brain a little bit, and just hear him talk about the stuff he's done.
I mean, I'd probably be like that with like Glenn Hughes or something. I don't know, man. I would about if I was to talk to Glenn Hughes, whatever. I already talked to George Lynch.
Yeah.
And I told him, hey man, my favorite solo is the solo in Lesser of Two Evils when y'all put out Dysfunctional. And he goes, man, I don't remember it. I don't even remember that solo. I'm like,
Well, I think Dysfunctional was supposed to be a Don Dawkins solo album,
yeah.
and then they offered him more money to go back and get the other guys.
Yeah, because I've heard different versions of that album. Different versions of the album. There's like 2 versions of that album. So
never heard that.
Because I bought the cassette and I listened to it. Then I went and bought the CD, and every song is different. It's the same song, but just mixed different.
Yeah. Oh man.
There's solos on some solos. There's not solos on some parts. It's crazy. You'd have to hear it. I'm tripping background shit. Anyway.
I know. I feel like my glasses are blurry and got smudges on them or something.
Man. And Walter couldn't join us because he didn't have internet. Something happened in his neighborhood, and a tree fell or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the trucks were out there trying to fix it, but not in time. So
yeah.
But anyway.
Well,
how much?
Listening.
Huh?
Your number 1 fans are over here listening.
Oh, I know. They're laying on their mama. And
we're all listening.
We got dog. I got to make my oatmeal.
You sound so old.
I got to make my oatmeal and take my. I don't need Viagra tonight. But anyway. So, yeah, you sure don't. Anyway. Not today.
well, we're down to about 4 minutes because before we got on here, we were talking for a while, or at least I was talking, and some people were just.
Yeah, I know, man. We're trying to figure out what that. Yeah, I know, and we're captioning. He read the captions. Yes, he saw the stuff.
Okay.
He saw it all, but yeah, man. That's about it. That's about it for my top 5.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, it's hard to pick, man. You know, but I don't know, man. Top 10 would have been. I don't know. Maybe top 10 would have been easier. Shit, I don't know.
You know, you needed to come up with the top 5.
Oh, we talked about it like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I wouldn't know I wouldn't even know what to say.
She wouldn't even know what to say. She don't know. She don't have a top 5.
Well, the funny thing is with us, we debate it so long, and it drives us crazy because we'll sit there and it's like it's killing us to leave a band off of it.
Yeah, and David's got his spreadsheets.
Yeah, he's got all. Yeah, David writes everything down. He keeps tabs on this and that, which is cool. I mean, it's a cool thing to do.
Yeah, one day I'll send you my my spreadsheet of all my songs that I consider good songs. It's about 8,000 because I can't lose any of them. I'm afraid that I'm weird.
You're not weird, man. You're not weird.
I think I might be.
Oh, good.
You got the love of music, and to me, that's not weird at all.
I don't get to pick what I listen to anymore.
Well, who would be your number 1?
Number 1?
Band. Who's your number 1 band?
I don't know.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what her favorite band is, but I know what her favorite song is. Well, it's out of the frying pan into the fire.
Fire!
Yeah.
Being over, baby. The driver.
Yeah. She likes that one. She likes having the fire too.
It's getting kind of cold. Somebody needs to put a log in the fireplace.
Yeah, exactly. Hey.
Apple bottom jeans and the boots with the fur. The club was looking at her. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, shorty got low.
For all you people that's Laurel.
She turned around and get that big booty.
Booby. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the gist of that.
Yeah.
But
anyway, we got about a minute left, man. Anything going on with your band anytime soon, or? No,
we were supposed to practice. Last Sunday, but our drummer got the COVID, and his wife got the COVID, and our bass player, he broke a rib.
Yeah,
so but I think we're going to get together this weekend. But other than shows or anything lined up, we ain't got nothing till 2024.
Yeah.
And that ain't till May. But I'm sure others will come around by that time, and we'll have played many shows before that show. So
all right. Well, I guess we'll just head out. And like I always say, if you love artists, buy their music, go see their shows, or they got no reason to keep coming back. But I'll probably talk to you tomorrow, and I'll probably see you in about 3 weeks.
Okay, cool deal, man. Look forward to it. But yeah, I'll give you a call tomorrow on the way home.
All right, man.
Ciao.
Ciao.
Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.